If it's not you're watching. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, on this Friday night? And this is a very special Friday night with our guest, John Borba, coming on here in just a few moments. But, someone else is not here with me tonight, and that'd be MJ. MJ can't make it tonight, so we're going to be starting philosophy with Phil Vicinanza a little bit early tonight. So let's bring him in here. Phil, happy to have you on. I know you know this guest personally, so how you feeling today?
Hello, all. I hope everyone had a good week. I'm super excited to be here, co-hosting once again, and ready to have a lot of fun here with our guest tonight.
Oh, yeah. Well, without further ado, let's bring our guest in here. He's been promoting events across the West Coast for probably decades now. It's John Borba. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good to have you here, John.
Hey, good to see you guys again, man.
So what has the WGAS clan been doing during this time?
Some of them have been staying busy. Most of them are going completely crazy. Um, everybody's trying to stay busy with something. Chelsea and Shane have just been busy trying to they've got some great plans for the near future with social media and things they're working on. We're working on some new ideas, some new venues that we would like to go to, and some new routing and some new shows. And hopefully, we'll be able to release some of this information in the very near future. The only downside is it's just, they got to tell us when we can do this. Since we don't want to release it, we're going to have shows and find out we can't have them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's great to hear that WGAS is going to be expanding to more venues across the West. So I'm excited for that. Phil, let's start it off.
Oh, absolutely. John, you've been in this for over 4 decades. I like to always say, seen done it all. You really have done it all. But you want to know, where did it all start for John Borba? Many years ago, you had to have a start somewhere. How did you get involved in motorsports?
Our first major event that I ever did was in 1975. We did that in Salinas, California. It was a tractor pull. We'd done a couple small shows prior to that, but this was the first major. 75, Salinas, California. Our grand marshal was Pete Coors of Adolph Coors Brewing Company, and it was the first time Coors Light was ever sold in the state of California, and it was the first time that we ever had out-of-state pull tractors competing in the state of California. So we had multiple engine pull tractors. We had a jet tractor out there. It was pretty cool. And it was a very successful event. The fans really came out for us. It was hugely attended, and we rocked the place. And from that, and that was our starting ground, and it went nuts from there. It went really crazy after that.
So you talk about promoting, your first major event, but another major event you have done was the event in Sam Boyd Stadium. You were the first to promote motorsports events in Sam Boyd Stadium. So how was it like there?
We did the first monster trucks in Sam Boyd Stadium. It's a small technicality, but
monster trucks, my bad.
But no, it's all good. It was a cool event at Sam Boyd. We went in there. We had a tractor pull track running down one sideline from end zone to end zone. We had a mud pit running the other side of the field from end zone to end zone with a mud pit that was like 4 feet deep. It was a serious pit. And then dead center in that arena, we had monster trucks performing, racing and freestyling, and it was really cool. We had Bigfoot out there. We had Barefoot out there. We had Super Pete was out there with us. We had Hot Stuff out there with us. It was cool. It was a great show. It really was a good show.
Sam Boyd Stadium wasn't also always one of the first. You were also in Candlestick Park in San Francisco. You were also at the Mile High Stadium in Denver. Mm-hmm. And also one of your big venues was the Tokyo Dome out in Japan. What were some of those experiences like, performing in some of the top football and major stadiums around the globe?
Well, they were all wonderful. They were all wonderful life experiences. The Tokyo Dome, we handled shipping logistics and the like for the Madison Square Garden Group. And at that time, they called themselves, I think it was Clear Channel Agri Shows, which was the predecessor to what we know now as Live Nation and Feld. It was a good time. It was a good time, and crazy funny things happened. I mean, we had monster trucks there. We had pull trucks there. We had Spanky Spangler doing stunts, jumping through the air and doing crazy things. And we brought a jet tractor out for the exhibition of the flame and everything, and that belonged at that time to Kirk Frankish. We had and Don Frankish was out. It was really kind of cool. I mean, these guys, it was before they got into monsters, and they got this jet tractor out there where we've got it in the arena for a press day the day before the show. Everything is set up, and we would take this huge pipe that came out of the front of this jet turbine tractor, and the guys would put popcorn in it. So when they start it up and wind it up, it would start shooting popcorn like it was popping in the tractor. And then and of course the press is loving it. All the Japanese dignitaries are there; they're loving it. And then he starts hitting the flamer on this thing, and when he starts doing that, it's blowing huge fire up into the air, and all the building personnel went completely nuts. Just lost it. They were hollering at us and using the international sign for stopping, crossing the arms, and shouting this. I don't know what they were saying, but they were shouting a lot, which they're very polite. Normally, you don't even hear them raise their voice. And they wanted us to shut the tractor off. So we did. We gave them the cutthroat sign, shut the tractor off. Unbeknown to us, the Tokyo Dome, its fire system is 3 large deluge monitors, actually 4 of them, in the corners of the Tokyo Dome. And then they have lasers that triangulate on a heat source. So if there's a heat source, they triangulate, aim at that heat source, and once they've identified it and found it, then these huge deluge monitors turn on, which is a water cannon, and they put out the fire. So we just about got nailed by these water cannons, which would have been devastating to the track and the field. So that was pretty exciting. That was an exciting thing.
Absolutely. Going overseas is an incredible experience, especially, when you're a full-fledged motorsport promotion. Now, you're one of the first guys out on the West Coast promoting the events, but you weren't the only one. There was a couple other companies out there, taking claim for a lot of the Western states and all the venues in them. Did you ever see any, competitiveness between you and the other promoters, or was it fairly, camaraderie and straightforward amongst each other?
No, it's competitive business. Always has been. Always will be. That's part of one of the things that makes America what it is to be is the free enterprise system, to be able to compete in things. And it's it's all about the fans. I mean, you got competitors, but you don't look at the competitors. You look at the fans, and you go out and do an event. And is it something you feel proud of? Are you proud of what you did? Do you feel good about it? You know what I mean? Do you want to see people the next morning, at the local restaurant while you're having breakfast? Do you want to see them? Does it make you feel good when they walk up and thank you, or they're genuine? That's what it's about. That's what it's really about. Is about giving a service and feeling good about that service, and that's what we feel is a really successful event. And of course, if your competitors are getting some good competition involved and all that, and they like it, even so much the better. But your spectators are number one thing. Other guys in the business, other competitors, it's just something you got to deal with like any business, And some of them are good, some of them aren't so good. You know what I mean? But as long as you can get along, that's what it's all about, because we're all in the same business.
We have a viewer question from Levi Shones. He wants to know, where is your favorite venue to host shows at?
Oh, wow. Trick question, man. That's a tough one. We do a lot of events. So it becomes one of those deals that, which one turns on the most. Right now, our favorite venue, which it's got a real close second, our favorite venue has got to be Del Mar. San Diego County Fair, Del Mar. We do 2 weeks of motorsports down there. We have to actually limit the tough truck entries to 60 because we don't have enough time or space to have more than that out there. We race the junior sprints and the mini outlaws, and we race lawnmowers out there, and we've raced dirt carts out there. We have freestyle motocross with, Jimmy Fitzpatrick and the Fitz Army and militia guys and everything. It rocks. We got the top monster guys. We do 2 shows a day, and we kick back and got a lot of time to visit and relax and really kind of a camp situation like. And brother, if you've never been to Del Mar, you can look at the ocean from the venue. So it's pretty sweet. It's pretty nice.
You mentioned tough trucks. Now, a lot of people haven't really seen tough trucks at a show. And for viewers watching that haven't seen tough trucks, what would you say to them if they were going to Del Mar to watch, some tough trucks?
Well, Del Mar is very unique in the tough truck world because the trucks that we have down there are mostly pre-runners and professional off-road trucks. And when I say pre-runners, these are trucks that are capable of running the Baja, but they drive on the street. Many of them drive daily on the street. Some other ones that come in, they come in on a trailer. They're all righteous trucks. These are trucks that can go out, and I'm not kidding you. They can huck a jump, throw it 60 feet in the air, no, like it was nothing, like a freestyle motocross flyer, hit the ground and keep running. And when the event's over, they'll drive it home that night. Now, that's a serious truck. You're talking. It's not just your normal garden variety stuff. These are pickups that are built full on off road. I mean, the high end suspension and the trick, whatever the latest is. And Southern California is very cutting edge on that because it's where Baja is. So that's where these guys are. So you have a lot of that. I mean, we've had, some of the best out there racing with us. We had, professional off-road racers that have come out and run that track with us. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool when you have that. The other end of tough truck racing is Clark County, Washington. Up there, we'll get 100 entries a day. And these guys are crazy. They're the ballsiest drivers you've ever seen in your absolute life. These kids are out there to do nothing but have tons of fun. And you'll only have a small handful of open class tough trucks. The majority of the tough trucks that you'll see up there are street trucks, what we call or categorize as street trucks. But these guys go out and buy a truck off of Craigslist or wherever, and you'll see it on Craigslist. You can go there and you'll say, tough truck for Clark County for sale, or Clark County tough truck wanted. These guys buy these trucks that got a hurt unit, they got a problem somewhere, not a real good streetable truck. Well, guess what? They're going to go have fun with it, Clark County, and they feel that truck, that's the last service it's going to have to mankind, is to go run at Clark County. And I'm telling you, it is off the hook. You can Google it. There's a YouTube video out with over 2 million hits of a tough truck running in Clark County, and it's funny. It's great. And it's a show that we've been doing for a lot of years. We've probably been doing Del Mar. Now this year would have been 25 years in Del Mar. Clark County, we've been doing it probably close to 20 years. So it's two ends of the spectrum, two completely different things. One is, don't get me wrong, Clark County's got some open class guys that rock. We got some beautiful Jeeps and everything up there. But then you go to Del Mar, it's a whole nother situation. You'll have a handful of street trucks. Everything else is open class category. And with some great stuff, with some really good stuff.
Absolutely, John. It's been a great run, especially at the many venues that you have performed in. A lot of them are outdoor venues. But the first time you ever promoted an event indoors was at the Cow Palace with truck and tractor pulls. What was that experience like? Cow Palace is another legendary arena for all sorts of entertainment, and you got to be a part of the historic run of events that go through there.
Okay, thank you for asking this. By the way, even Robbie Gordon comes out and has raced with us in Del Mar. So that's pretty large. Cow Palace, wow, that is for Northern California as kids. That's where we would go and you would show cattle with FFA and stuff like that. It's been a famous old building forever. They've had Democratic Republican conventions there. Evel Knievel performed there. That's like where Elvis has been there. It's really something. We had, the opportunity to take tractor pulling into there, and we call it the World Finals. And it was open to the top tractors in the absolute world. The track that we ended up with there was a beautiful red clay. We did shows there for 10 years of tractor pulling. We found out what the limit was for motors on an indoor pull when we had Mission Impossible come in. Tim Engler, he had 7 Rodax, Chevrolet Rodax on a tractor 1471 superchargers on each one of these 540 Rodaks. Each motor had its own 4-disc crawler on it, clutch cannon, and it was just a magnificent piece of machinery. And it was off the hook scary. It really was. It was painful to your ears when it ran in there. So we found out what the limit was. We got some pretty funny stories about things that took place over the years at the Cow Palace. And when the earthquake hit San Francisco, it kind of put the kibosh of people feeling comfortable about going back to there for watching machinery that felt like they were shaking the building down.
Yeah, and through all those venues, it comes with evolution, like you said, whether it be an earthquake or just different venue changes. So we have a question from someone you might know very well, one of your many voices of WGAS, the guru, Christopher Allen. He wants to know, can you tell those watching when you stop promoting in stadiums and start predominantly promoting in county and / state fairs?
Well, hi, Christopher, my friend. How you doing, buddy? Actually, we started out in county fairs and little venues. That's how we started. We started out doing that. And actually, when we got into doing stadiums and stuff, it isn't that we really quit those, but we didn't have the time to do them. We actually gave shows to friends of ours and stuff, said, hey, go do this. It's a good show. Great spectators are loving it. Have some fun with it, because we're going to be doing 2 shows a year in Hawaii, and it's crazy, and we haven't got the time for it. And then I'd left the business to finish raising my children for about 4 years. And when I came back, I decided that 2 things. Number one, there was some really big dogs on the porch as far as in the monster truck promotion industry that were very tough to compete with on the stadium level. And not only that, we also started looking at the fair level and said, the fair is where we got our start, and we want to take professional motorsports as professionals we can do to county fairs on a county fair level. And that's what WGAS was all about, was to try to come in and do a professional event. You know what I'm saying? And when I say professional, we're talking about back in the day when they were just starting to use, kill radios and things and weren't sure what the heck was going on with it. Trying to do that, uniform crews, radio equipped crews, crews that went through training and knew what the hell they were doing out there, safety being utmost, in doing an event for our competitors, making sure we had something for fire repression and things of that nature. All that. In other words, we went out today. Let's try to look like the big guys. Let's try to act like, what would NASCAR do here? What would NHRA do here? What would anybody else do here? That's who we mimic. So, Christopher, when did we start? I guess we probably slowed down on doing fair shows about somewhere in the early 80s. And we came back and started doing fair shows again. Probably around 94, 95, I'm guessing, something like that. I hope that answers it.
So I have a question. What does WGAS stand for? What's the background behind that?
You just had to go there, didn't you, Vance? You just had to go there. WGAS was my good friend, Michael Johnson, that we affectionately call Bubba, talked me into coming back into business. Because really, I was just we'd bought a little ranch in the hills, and I wasn't going to come back to the biz. I was like, hey, I got to raise my family. I got, I got to take care of my health. Got to do some things like that. Don't want to do this anymore. And Bubba lived in Washington at the time. I'm living in the foothills of Northern California. And he's calling me up every day going, hey, man, we got to do this, brother. Let's do this. We got to do this thing. Let's get it financed. I said, okay, Bubba, we'll do some fair shows. Let's go do that. We'll get it going. So he says, great. What are you going to call it, man? Let's call it. I said, we're going to call it WGAS, Bubba. And he's like, great. So he calls me back about a week and a half later, says, JB, check it out. I've got some business cards done. I've got some stationery done with some ideas and everything. Got all these different deals going for it to get the business going and everything. Says, what do you think? He says, by the way, this WGAS, what is that, like world's, greatest American sport or something? What does that stand for? I said, Bubba, it stands for who gives a shit. And he was like, no, dude, don't do that to me. Don't tell me that. He says, I said, no, I said, it really does. I said, because the fact is, we took ourselves way too seriously before, and we forgot why we were in this business. We're in this business for the fans. That's what it's really all about. We do this for the fans. There's lots of ways a man can go out and make money and support a family. And trust me, most of them are a whole hell of a lot easier and a lot stressful, a lot less stressful. It took a large portion of my life to realize that I did this because I love it. And I dig watching the looks on kids' faces and what it's all about. So the reason for the name was for us not to take ourselves too serious. Has nothing to do with who's putting on the show. It's all about who's on the track. We're not like NASCAR. We're not like NHRA. We don't have an association out in front of us. We don't have a USDA prime choice that tells you, hey, consumer, this is a good buy. We don't have that. And I wish we did. And we try to make that we can. That's why you want to throw your business name out there. It's not about making yourself feel good or giving you the rah-rahs. It's one, hopefully, that the general public can tell the difference of what's a good show and what's a bad show. Was that show worth the money? Did you feel comfortable? Did you feel safe? Did they know what the hell they were doing when they put on that show? Was it easy to get something to eat or drink? Was there decent restroom facilities? Could you park your car? All these things. Could you hear the announcer? Did you see what was advertised? So anyway, that's what it's kind of all about. That's where we're at. So yes, we call it WGAS. We don't wish to be crude or rude. We refer to it as world's greatest action sports. But now that we got the best fans in the world here asking, yeah, that's really what it stands for.
Well, you heard it right here from the man himself. There you guys go. He wanted it.
We definitely know you're a stand-up guy, John. I see a lot of the folks here in the comments. Herc is calling you a stand-up guy. We have Bob Trent from Bigfoot 4x4 giving you guys lots of love, giving them a chance to run out west a lot more. And also another guy that gives you a lot of love is Lee Plato. And he wants to know who has been the youngest full-size monster truck driver in your shows, and at what age did they start driving? So we know Lee was mini monsters, so what about the big size? Who was the youngest, and when did they start?
The two youngest that started at about the same age were of course Rick Swanson's son, and the other one was Kelvin Raymer's daughter. So I mean, we all know how they do, how great they've become, what kind of pros that they are, and we actually couldn't let them drive. Really, I mean, it was really a war. I remember Rick coming to me, Kelvin coming to me, going, "Come on, man! You see these guys? They load the truck, they do all this around. Let them get in." And we were just like, "We gotta wait till they're at least 16. We have to wait till they're at least 16. It's a responsible thing." And this is the sad thing about it, is sometimes public opinion could be the issue. You know what I mean? If something happened, like, who thought it was a good idea to put that child in there? So, but those are the two youngest monster truck drivers that we've had, and that's of course talking about Wildflower and talking about Obsessed. So those are the youngest ones, and both probably started out around about the same time. I think Rosalie got a little more attention. I mean, we kind of saw her everywhere. The San Francisco Chronicle came and did a story on her in Santa Rosa when they were around with us in Santa Rosa. The next week, that story was picked up off the net, and Good Morning America calls up Rosalie and says, "We want you in New York to do our morning show." So they flew Rosalie to New York to do their morning show, and bam, a couple weeks after that, Kelvin's gone up going, "Hey, we got another deal here. Ellen DeGeneres wants Rosalie down at Warner Brothers. We're going down there. Can you set this thing up?" Heck yeah, Kelvin, let's go. So Rosalie went down and did the Ellen DeGeneres show, came out and went all through the truck with Ellen, and then performed for him on television. So that was pretty cool. That was some good stuff. And I'm proud of seeing to be a little bitty part of the success of some of these trucks. The success on Swanson's truck, I can't believe, that is the only monster truck to ever be in 2 different commercials during the Super Bowl. Are you ready for that? That's cool, man. That's cool stuff.
That is way cool. But, we're on the topic of, TV shows. One celebrity that was at a show, a WGAS show, was Jay Leno. Now, how did that sort out with Mr. Jay Leno?
Jay, that dude, by the way, is cool. Jay Leno is absolute cool. He's not like, starstruck or whatever. He's cool, man. I mean, the guy is most comfortable sitting on the tailgate of a pickup talking hot rods. Came down, and we did a number of things with him down. We put him in Robosaurus and had him tear up some cars. We put him on Robbie Fergunis mini modified tractor, and had him blast down the track. And that's one of these little garden tractors that I don't know if you've seen them mini modified. They weigh about 1,800 pounds, and they got about 4,000 horsepower. They are spooky. Leno drove that thing like he stole it. It was incredible. Then we had Eric Brown built a demolition derby car, and we put him into a demolition derby car. He went out and drove the tail off of that thing in a real demolition derby. And it wasn't a make-believe thing. And then we put him in Tony Caneto's monster truck, the Survivor truck, and that was really cool. And I mean, jumped in on it in a minute. He rolled with it. As a thank you to the crew and everybody involved there, we were all invited to go on a tour through the Big Dog Garage, which was awesome. That was awesome. I mean, if you're a motorhead, you got to love going through the Big Dog Garage. It was a lot of fun. And tell you what kind of guy Jay is. He's got about a dozen people working in that Big Dog Garage. And it's not like show cars with mirrors under them and stuff. They're beautiful machines that he runs and drives. And he's got a dozen people in there just to keep them running and driving and get stuff happening. Every one of his cars in that garage has a current license plate on it. Every one of them's got a battery tender on it. So Jay rolls in there for time, wakes up in the morning and goes, I think I'll go drive the orange one today. And the guys will roll it out, and he'll go do a film shoot or something with it, or have one of his celebrity friends go for a ride. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. I mean, he's got an awesome garage. He got steam engines and just neat. He got a Cadillac with a jet engine. He's got some crazy stuff there, but fun stuff. And by the way, Bigfoot, Trent, how you doing, man? I got to give it up to those guys. That's the granddaddy of monsters right there.
You really have had like one of every single monster truck at some point compete at one of your events all around the country, whether it's domestic or a little bit over the waters. I have a comment from one of our viewers, Blake. He wants to bring back monsters to Hawaii. That's another venue that you took domain with for a number of years. It was the Aloha Stadium. What was that experience like, bringing motorsports to Hawaii?
Absolutely loved it. We did it for 10 years. We do 2 shows a year there for 10 years. It rocked. The Hawaiian people the Aloha spirit there. They got that going on. Those are the people taught me how to eat. So, but anyway, seriously, we had a great time in Hawaii. We rocked the house many, many times. We had every Bigfoot truck that Bigfoot made, I think, there, or at least the different types. I mean, we had, Kramer come out all the time and drive one of the trucks that was out. And not only would freestyle run around with it, we'd hook it to a pull sled. And Bigfoot would go down the track with a pull sled, and 2/3 of the way down the track, when the weight got heavy, the front wheels would lift off the ground, and he'd wheelie down the track till the bottom of a track to a stop. Absolutely incredible. We had the 10-foot tall tired truck there. We had Ms. Bigfoot there. We had the Bigfoot shuttle van there. We had Bigfoot tracks there that had twin blown motor Fords in a tank track rig. So yeah, we had them all out there. It was a regular thing. We had a lot of fun. We We had Bigfoot on the beach in Waikiki taking photos and everything. It was a lot of fun when the Desert Storm took place with all the they pulled all the military out of there, so we got hurt pretty good on a couple of shows. Didn't really roll out the way we wanted it. Now it does around the time of my demise that I just said, hey, I've had enough. I had some health issues and kind of walked away from it, figured I better raise my family. Right now, Monster X has it. Monster X went in last year and rocked the place. I heard they filled it up and did a very successful show, and I'm sure they're looking forward to going back there. So I know I talked a number of times with them. They'd say, hey, when are we going? Danny would give me a call, Dan Torkelson, and we'd visit about it. He'd say, hey, when are we going to Hawaii? I said, let me know whenever you're ready. So anyway, it looks like Danny got it going on, and he did it. I'm happy for him. It was successful.
You have a lot of fan support here in the comments, no matter where you're doing the events. I see a lot of comments from Shane Russell. I see the Dirt Dudes in the chat as well. You've given a lot of people opportunities, and so many different people wanting to know their favorites and wherever they're at the events. And that's a question from Travis Palm. Do you happen to have a favorite driver or truck that competes at your events? I know you have a lot of different competitors and a lot of different disciplines, but is there anybody that sticks out to you as a favorite?
That's like asking you what finger on your hand is your favorite. Does it make sense? It depends what you want to use them for. Sometimes you want to use this finger, sometimes you want to use another finger, but they're all your fingers, and you love each one of them dearly, and they all have a purpose they serve, and they all, the same with the monster trucks. I'm not copping out on this. I'm straight up on this. I love every one of them. I mean, I got monster truck guys that will give their heart for me. They'll go out, and if we're in trouble, what I mean by in trouble is, say we've had really a lot of breakage, and we, we don't know what we're going to do for time and shows. I've got monster truck drivers that have went out for me and ran their trucks until the pipes are glowing and white sparks are coming out of the exhaust pipes. I mean, just hurt them. I mean, ran them so hot, so long. I remember watching Shocker. If you remember Shocker, watching him go out and run that truck in Pomona one year. We had Shocker there and Big Dummy, and they ran those two trucks forever because everybody else we had was breaking. We had Barefoot was there, was breaking. We had Monster Patrol was there, was breaking. Bounty Hunter was out there, had some issues. It was just one of those tracks, one of those ways, and one of the jumps we had set up was just taking the drive lines immediately out of trucks. And I mean, all of a sudden we got two trucks left, and it's kind of like, guys, can you go do something? I said, yeah. Old Gerber says, come on, buddy, let's go. And him and Frank went out there and ran these trucks till he ran them in the ground. Literally ran them in the ground. I've had Bigfoot do the same for me. I've had Jimmy Cretin do that for me. I've had Sammy Sturgis do that for me. I've had Tony Canedo do it for me. So you pick one out, man, it would be hard. It would be hard. I mean, every one of these guys, somewhere along the line, if they're a monster truck driver, it's what they do. And it's what they'll do for you. It can be Bill Payne. It can be anybody out there. And they'll go out and give it up for you. And so do I have a favorite? I used to. Now, as we got a little older, I love them all. And like I said, they're like the fingers on my hand. What do you want them to do? I got trucks that are good for a small track. They're a wheelie that do good stuff. I got other trucks. If you got a big track where there's some long-winded iron out there that's going to go out and rock and roll and do a great thing. If I got enough space for some donuts, I want to do some racing. It's all about what it is you're doing and how you're laying it out. So I don't know how else I can answer that. I'm sorry. I guess I japped out. I tapped out on that. I tapped out and didn't give you an answer. I'm sorry.
No, I think that was the right answer, John.
That was the right answer.
I totally agree.
I agree. But I have a question. So, you guys have been working on the WGAS Motorsports official program, and I'll tell you what, this is a great program. Now, when can the viewers watching or WGS fans possibly purchase an official program? Do you guys have a selected date you guys are going to release it, or what's the story behind that? Because I've had a lot of people bring it up.
Chelsea and Shane have both told me that's happening right now. What they've been doing is just the mechanics of setting it up, and we weren't real sure how to do it. I'm so proud of what they did with that program. You know, Jim Allen went out and just rocked it with that thing. And oh, geez, I wish Jimmy could chime in right now. We played with the idea for probably 2 years, right? Just, hey, we ought to do this, we ought to do that. No, let's do this, let's do that, you know. And then Susan Woolley would jump in now and then. Well, I got some photos here. Let's do this, that, you know. So it really worked out good. It took a long time to get together. It's 60 pages. It's a bunch of cool stuff, as current as we could get. We tried to get all photos of them running at one of our shows, and we tried to keep it from being too commercial or anything. It was just all about pictures of the guys and gals you like in monster trucks, you know. And anyway, I think Chelsea and Shane got a deal. They're going to be releasing that probably within the next week or two.
And I'll tell you something. If you're a fan looking to get an autograph at a show, this book is perfect for you. You know, you can just sign it. A driver can just sign it right on the page. So definitely a good buy, and looking forward to when that gets released. But do we have any other questions or comments? Let me see. We have
There's another. Oh, go ahead, Vinny. You pull up
one from Rod Wood. He says, my son's first show was at Del Mar, California at 14 years old.
You told me he was 18, Rod. You know what? That's very possible. Rod, how you doing, brother? Been throwing around a lot of names, and I left out. Actually, when Rod first started running with me, he was American Made Racing, and then he went through as the trucks kept going and getting bigger and better every year. Went from American Made Racing, went to McGruff thing, and then a Pedal Loco. And I tell you what, if you haven't seen Rod Wood run, you need to go watch him run. This kid can rock. And that's right. Correct me, I got the old guy thing, Rod. I think it was Cody is your son's name. Was it Cody that ran with us, and he was probably about 14?
I think it was Murphy.
Murph. Yeah, there you go, Murph. Okay, right. And I think, Rod, you may be right. I think Murph might have been a little younger, and he kind of slipped one in off because we were supposed to make them all wait till they were 16. And of course, now it's working really good because we got the little bone crusher out there going on. All these guys, there's a bunch of neat trucks going on that are running little tiny monster trucks. We've been watching the little monsters. And those guys are having a ball. I mean, they're really doing some good stuff. Help me out with the names there. It's Warhead, Skull Crusher, and
High Risk. High Risk.
Yeah, High Risk. High Risk.
Speaking of High Risk, Eric Shockey commented, speaking of the devil, hi, John, we have known you for 10 plus years, and it all started with the Junior Outlaws and then the Mini Dwarfs. Now we're on a mini monster with you. What are some of the new entertainment you have coming up?
Well, that's a great question. That is a really good question. And the really, really crazy things we kind of have are we thought they were just crazy, and they were kind of like jokes. And now we've started guarding the ideas because it's not so much a joke. We've got some pretty good ideas on maybe some new things coming up. We're also looking at not changing the monster trucks themselves. MTRA and everybody does a great job of that. I mean, they're a class act, got some great trucks, some great safety rules. I mean, these guys are paying attention to their investments and trying to make it safe and entertaining for the spectators. But I think the design of monsters needs to be changed. And we've been working on a game plan for that for two different ways. One is change the look of the monsters and how they can compete on an affordable format for the monster trucks, entertaining for the spectators, and safe. Another thing we're looking at is interactive monster truck racing. In other words, it's probably going to end up involving you guys, man, where people can be online either at home or at the event and actually get involved in what's going to happen next at one of these shows. So that's some fun ideas too. We like it.
We bring up ideas, and especially those mini monsters. We talked about them a bit. Another one of your mini monster dads in the comments is Mike Menner. just want to give you thanks for giving the kids a place to run and always supporting the West Coast Mini Monsters. You really have been the platform for the Mini Monsters. We had them on one of our earlier episodes. You guys could check that in our video feed. But you're really the platform for a lot of those guys, including Jeff Sousa's son, Hunter, who's now driving a full-scale monster truck. Isn't that just kind of the continued evolution from seeing kids like the Shockies driving the mini dwarfs to the mini monster trucks, and then seeing them slowly move up to the full-size monster trucks?
Oh, exactly. And the minis now are taking over the world. I mean, these kids are rocking. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Shane's new truck. Lee came out with this truck. I mean, it's got a rear-engine V8 supercharged motor. I was like, yeah, he scares me to death. I said, Lee, you're not going to run that. Come on, nah. Oh no, Shane's got it. He's got it. Don't worry about it. And he does. Of course, he rocks it. But I mean, that's a long ways away from little four bangers and stuff doing their thing. That's a real serious hot rod out there. That's a lot going on, and so we need to keep track of it. We do need to keep it safe. We don't need somebody saying who thought that was a good idea. But what's fun is we can not only watch our children get involved and our friends' children, the crowd likes watching it. And that's the really cool thing about this is that it's entertaining and it's fun to the spectators. And I mean, think about it, guys. What is any better in life than to not only go out and do something you love more than doing anything else, than having several thousand people on board with you and digging it? I think it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, you're blessed to have that going on for you.
We have another question from Dallas Glenn Rogers. He wants to know any advice for new up-and-coming independent monster truck owners.
Any advice? Yeah, a lot of advice. There's, like the guys say, if you want to make $1 million with a monster truck, start out with $2 million. Probably the biggest advice is to make a truck that is dependable. Take it out, find some place where you can practice with it. You don't want to learn how to drive it at the shows. You want to know what you're doing when you get there. And make it dependable. Make it where any show producer knows he can count on it. You want to be known as the go-to truck. In other words, that, hey, everybody went out and this fell off and that broke and this broke and that happened. And you want to be the guy that says, hey, I'll give you another round. What do you need? Let me go do it. That's the truck. That's the go-to guy. And I'll guarantee you that will get you more business than anything else. Don't go out and try to beat the guys that have been doing it for 20 years, because by the time you start beating them and you realize that, yeah, hey, I can beat this guy, you're going to find out he's probably been letting you beat him. Because if it gets right down to it, you want to go out and go nose to nose with some of the drivers we got out there. Oh, man, you might want to spend a couple years behind the seats. Pretty tough for a rookie to go out and do what they've been doing. But dependability is the number one thing in the eyes of a producer. Total number one thing. And fans never want to see a monster truck fail. They don't want to see monster trucks fail. Monster trucks are supposed to be, superhumans. They're supposed to be able to do anything. You can run over a car. You can jump off mountains, go through buildings. And they don't want to see you get towed out of the arena.
Totally agree with you, John. If you believe you can achieve, and when these trucks are larger than life, you always have to perform at a top level and always make sure to get that picture-perfect moment, especially on that camera. Talk about cameras. We talked about the yearbook that you guys have coming out very soon. A lot of the pictures in that yearbook come from Jim Allen. Jim was in the comments earlier. He took over Christopher's profile. He just wanted to say hi, and he said he missed seeing your handsome face. Seems like he saw you in February.
He's quite a schmoozer, isn't he?
Him? Never. But that goes a long way with you bring guys along like the Allens to your event, and you have Jim out there taking pictures alongside of Susan. You have Christopher on the microphone with with Rad or the Dirt Dude or whoever. It's a really big family atmosphere at your events. That's something I learned when I was a lot younger. And you do this alongside of your family, especially your daughter Chelsea, who's really your right-hand person in the business side of things with WGAS. What does that mean for you that you get to do this alongside of your daughter and the rest of your family?
Oh, it's very flattering. It's very flattering, and it means absolutely everything to you. For Big Jim being out there and stuff. And Jimmy, we got some great plans for the future. We really do. By the way, we're also looking at another program already. This one hasn't even officially hit the streets. It was supposed to be released at all of our shows, and of course, we didn't have any shows. So, good. Fortunately for us, it doesn't have dates in it. So we plan to have that out. We're also going to do more program books. And each one of them is going to have a focus point. This one here focuses on monster trucks. We're going to make one that also focuses on tough trucks. So it's going to be all about tough trucks and multiple pictures of tough trucks and good pictures of tough trucks to try to get everybody we can in there. We're also planning to do one on mini Outlaws and the junior sprints and have those kids out there. We want to do something on that. We want to do one that's gonna highlight on pulling, because pulling is where I got my start in 1975. It's all about was truck and tractor pulling. That was the main focus of everything. We want to, because we're going to get more involved in the sport of pulling now, and we plan to have some programs that cover that a lot more. We want some books that that really get them going out. We used to do a lot of it back in the day, and we're going old school. We're bringing that back, so it's something else to look at. So. Kind of getting carried away. I apologize, but that's what we're after.
Absolutely. You've given a lot of people opportunities over the years, big or small. And one of those guys who gave an opportunity to about 10 years ago was some guy named Lloyd Massey. He became the voice of your events for many years, and he was just larger than life. Where on earth did you find Lloyd, and how did you get him involved with your events?
Thank you for asking. I still get very emotional talking about Lloyd. It's hard because we lost Lloyd tragically. And I was at a Oregon Fair convention, and it was dinner night, and they have entertainment during the dinner. And of course, as you can expect in Oregon, it's a lot of country western music, and a lot of everything, country western this, country western that. And, the dinner is full of cowboy hats in there, several hundred people. And this tap dance team comes out. And the tap dance team spokesman is Lloyd. And I see these three kids come out tap dancing, and I'm thinking, man, they're gonna eat these kids alive. This is a group that's chomping at the bit, wanting to hear some good country western stuff and a little twang to it. And here's these three young men are going to come out here and tap dance, and I don't know if this is going to work out. Lloyd picked up the mic, and within about 3 minutes had this entire building in the palm of his hand, and they loved it. When the show was over that night, I ran him down and said, Lloyd, I'd like to meet with you tomorrow morning. I want to talk to you, about a business opportunity. He said, sure, you got it, man. Let's get crack-whacking on it. That's good. That's how Lloyd always talked. Next morning, we have breakfast, and I said, Lloyd, I want to make you a motorsport commentator for WGAS Motorsports. He thought I was hiring him for tap dance, and I said, no, we don't need tap dancers. I need a good commentator. And Lloyd was like, he goes, JB, I got to tell you something, man. He says, I don't mind talking to people, but I know absolutely nothing about motorsports. I said, don't worry about it. I can teach you motorsports. What I can't teach you is it, and you have it. You make people like you immediately. You're incredibly entertaining. You really have a knack for that. It's a God-given gift, and we want to give you a new format for that. And he says, hey, let's go. Let's give it a try. In no time, he not only took over as announcing and everything, he became the president of our company. He was running the business, rocking and rolling stuff. I mean, Nitro Circus, everybody was constantly trying to hire Lloyd away to make him a commentator for them and stuff. And we were really starting to rock and roll, and we lost my son-in-law, John. John was an old guard in Washington, D.C., for the United States Army. And we were, he had aspirations of at the end of his Army career, he totally loved our business, loved the motorsports, loved the monster trucks. John was all about getting into it. And after a few tours overseas and stuff, and being in these wars, we were in some altercations. We lost John. Long story short, we lost him. I don't want to get carried away on that. And I finally came out of that little coma, and Lloyd really brought us out of it. And we were just going 200 miles an hour, and then we lost Lloyd, and I lost my steam again. I just, two of the most talented young human beings I had done business with. Well, guess what? Now, Chelsea's running this thing. I'm coming out of it again. We feel pretty good about it, and we've been having a lot of fun here recently. We've, like I say, this year, right now, what time is it here? 7 o'clock. We would just be wrapping up our second show in Del Mar right now. We would be probably racing tough trucks or something like that. We'd be having a good time. You'd be hearing Jake's monster fire truck starting up, giving rides about now. And we would be there through the 4th of July. This year, we were supposed to be there through the 5th of July. So that's something we've done. This would have been our 25-year anniversary in Del Mar. And what a bummer. We had that lined out. On July 4th, we probably been doing Pomona there July 4th for probably 15, 18 years anyway. So, it's just, I feel really strange. Can't recall really the last time I was home for the 4th of July. We used to do 4th of July at Aloha Stadium every year with a giant mud race and a fireworks show. And then we've been doing Del Mar July 4th, and we started doing Pomona July 4th, all at the same time, And I don't know what I'm going to do this July 4th. I haven't got it figured out yet, but it's weird. It's very weird.
It's always uncharted times, especially through the ups and downs. I know you said still emotional talking about Lloyd, but if I can, I want to share a quick little story. I was telling you last night that you really gave me my start in monster trucks, allowing me to be in your pits at such a young age, just to learn everything at the events. But one of the big guys there walking me around was Lloyd, and he showed me a lot of different things and just things that the normal fan doesn't get to see. And it was thanks to Lloyd. He invited me out to Del Mar. And for 5 years in Del Mar, I was one of your judges at the events. And later on, I got a job with Monster Jam. And part of that job, I got to work with all of the hosts, the announcers at all of our events, especially the new announcers that knew nothing about monster trucks. They come from all the different areas of entertainment, just like Lloyd. And through the training I would work with them, I would always make a point to share a video of Lloyd on the mic and always talk about Lloyd. And to this day, and I got to work alongside of some of the best announcers that Monster Jam put together. I always still put Lloyd at the top of that list. And you bet that if I go back to work with Monster Jam and keep working with our talented hosts, that I'll continue to keep telling the story of Lloyd and just showing how somebody who's tap dancing at an event in Oregon really left an impact at the events, especially at events like yours, John, that really just make everybody feel included. So I just wanted to share that with you and just say thank you.
Thank you, Phil. That's awesome. That it's ironic you mentioned like going out to Vegas. The World Finals helped prove something to Lloyd. What Lloyd had going on, and anybody that ever saw Lloyd knows exactly what I'm talking about. It was magical. It was really quite magical. He had it, and I can't explain it, just it. It's a magnetism like many great entertainers have. He had it. And he didn't believe when we tell him what he meant to people. We tried to say, Lloyd, he's going, well, how'd I do, JB? I don't know if it sounds, because we'd always tease him when he was on the mic because he didn't know about motorsports. We would do mean things to him. But we had a truck break in Del Mar. They're towing this tough truck off the track. And Lloyd's got a headset on with one earpiece so he could talk to me and he goes, hey, JB, what happened down there? What's going on? And I said, hey, he broke it. He's going to have it back on the track. He goes, hey, cool. All right, he broke it. He's going to be right on the track. So what went out? What went out? And I said, well, he lost a muffler bearing. And they're getting a new muffler bearing, putting that bad boy, and we'll have him back out there in the track. This guy's going to rock it. He really wants this win tonight. And Lloyd starts announcing that this guy broke a muffler bearing, and they're going to replace it. And now he starts hearing laughter. He turns and looks, and there's a bunch of guys sitting behind him, and he goes, I think I just been had, right? I just been had, and they all nodded their heads. Yeah, you've been had. And Lloyd's on the JB. I'll never believe a word you say again. But anyway, thanks for allowing me to indulge with that. Back to the World Finals. We're out at the World Finals, and Lloyd hadn't been out to him. I said, man, let me take you out to the World Finals. You're going to love it. It's great. Okay, let's go. Trip to Vegas. I'm walking through the pit area with Lloyd, and it would have been like had I been walking with Dennis Anderson. I'm not even joking you. We're walking through the pits, and you can hear people going, hey, Lloyd, hey, man, what's up? Hey, Lloyd, I'm glad to see you out here. What's happening? And Lloyd just waving, and I mean, he's walking. He's got both hands waving to the right and the left. People hollering his name. We sat and ate lunch at the barbecue, and people are coming. Hey, Lloyd, how you doing, man? What's going on? What's going to happen to Del? You gonna be back in Del Mar? You coming out to Arizona, or are you gonna go? And looked at Lloyd and said, "See what I told you, man? They love you. They love you." So, and that's true story. I mean, it was 2 years in a row. It was like Lloyd would go out there, and I even saw field people looking over, going, "Who's this guy? You know, who is he, man? Why is everybody hollering at him when he's waving at him when he walks through the pit?" So it's pretty cool.
I love it, man. I can talk about Lloyd's toys for hours, but always make sure, especially at certain times, always have my Lloyd shirt on at the events. It's always like a lucky undershirt. I think I might have wore this at the World Finals last year in Orlando during the madhouse. That was just little things to remind myself, never forget where you came from. And I guarantee that's always something that Lloyd always appreciated. You know, you've given a lot of people opportunities, and you've always raised awareness for so many great causes. Jim Allen's in the comments again, and he just wanted to give you a huge shout out for your support of autism awareness. It means the world to the Allen family.
Oh, you bet. That's the least we can do. And Chelsea visits with Jim about that, and the things that they're trying to do, because my grandson has some of the same issues, and it's just really good. It's, you know what, man, we're so blessed because we can have fun with our business. We can go out and do some things that are fun, and hopefully do something that means something to somebody, that it's not just an 8 to 5. It's not just a business. It's really cool when you can sit down and you know each other. You know, Jimmy and his family right now, his wife's got her, you know, Jimmy just got a hospital. His wife's got some problems, and you know, they got some real challenges in front of them, and hope they're going to come out of it. And I'm sure Christopher's going to step up and really help that family to make it happen. You know, everybody's got something going on. To give a shout out to Jimmy Fitzpatrick right now. His father's got some real issues, and our hopes and prayers go out to Fitzpatrick. So down there, he's a world-class freestyle rider. But anyway, there's a lot of guys all helping out. You know, that it's just neat, and it's fun to be able to visit with everybody up and down the coast. You know, we try to just stay in the West Coast now. We don't really want to go over to Rocky Mountains. It's kind of neat. I've been talking to Chicken today. We're maybe going to get together and do a little salmon fishing here in the near future. Hopefully get to see in a couple of weeks. Going to go out and visit with Chuck and maybe hit the dunes and run the razors a little bit. But it's really neat. I'm looking forward to get a chance to get out to Hawaii here, maybe somewhere if I got nothing else to do, and see some of my old friends from back of the day, you know, Big Ed, some of these guys out there. So it's neat. We've got friends everywhere from Canada to Mexico. So I feel blessed, man. It's been a good business. It's been a hell of a ride, and it feels good. And I'm looking forward to having some more. I'm looking forward to having Bigfoot out with us, you know, to be able to have them share their name with our fans that haven't had a chance to see him for a while. He's never been at any of our Del Mar shows. This was going to be the first year to have Foot out there, and I was like, oh, wow, just missed it. And some others, but hey, we're going to get it going back around. We got and we got new youngsters coming up too. Tony Canedo's little girl graduated high school. She's been getting behind the seat of a monster truck. She's going to be getting out rocking and rolling pretty soon. So she's already driven a couple of times. So that ought to be kind of fun. Maybe she'll be getting some ideas from Susan's son or something. I don't know. He's got some good ideas, and I know Wicked Strong's been hanging in there, offering some support as well. So that's good. It's always good to see the next generation come up, and geez, I feel like it's the third generation coming up.
Yeah, you definitely have given many people a lot of opportunities with WGS. And we have Craig Kentz in the comments. He says, "You have been a great help to me in my career as an announcer."
Oh, right on. Glad to hear it. He's guy you need to have jump in for July 3rd with you, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking about July 3rd, now that people are like, what is going on July 3rd? What is this? We'd be in Del Mar right now. And I was thinking, it's a tradition for WGS going out to Del Mar. And I was thinking, what can I do to make it somewhat, keep Del Mar kind of alive, the tradition. So I was like, let's do a virtual event and let's bring some of the drivers from last year's Del Mar into a virtual track. It's the same track as last year's. We're going to play the promo video, and John, we're going to talk about that for a little bit.
Awesome. And by the way,
California, get ready for the first annual virtual West Coast Monster Truck Shootout, featuring some of your favorite monster trucks, such as the original monster truck, Bigfoot, Racing World Champion, Bounty Hunter, Obsessed, and more. 3 competitions: Monster Truck Time Trial Racing, Monster Truck Best Trick Competition, and Monster Truck Freestyle. July 3rd on WGAS Motorsports TV on YouTube, 7 o'clock Pacific Time.
Sorry for cutting you off there, John, but July 3rd, we got a stacked lineup of 8 trucks. We got, 3 real drivers from the actual Del Mar event. We got Jacob Ladwig, driver of Rat Attack. He's going to be behind the wheel of Nasty Boy in respect of Ronnie Sturgis. And then we got Unnamed but Untamed, Juan Munoz. He's going to be coming back in the virtual world, as well as the Wicked Strong team in Brandon Galley. As well as, Bigfoot would be debuting at the real Del Mar, but we made a call to the Bigfoot team. Drew Epler, the crew chief for the Bigfoot team. He's driven Iron Warrior before. He's going to be piloting Bigfoot July 3rd. So, John, what's your thoughts on the virtual Del Mar?
I think it's cool. I'm jazzed to be part of it. It's very flattering that you guys picked Del Mar to do it. It just adds credit to it, man, and we appreciate it. And I think it's neat. I love the creativity. It's good stuff, man. It's new stuff, and that's what you got to do. You always got to have something new and creative going on. Kind of like my mask. Look at this. This is from Bob Cleveland and his wife. Can you see it?
Yep.
My monster truck mask. How about that? Look at that. Even it matches my hat. Does all that.
I love it. A man of style.
Hey, can I indulge for a moment? I want to give a shout out to a couple of guys. One of them is Jeff Cook. I'm sure you're familiar with him and his monster truck. Gorgeous little hot rod he's got. Monster Truck Hall of Fame and everything. And also Rich Cummings. I was really just blown away the other day that he's got a podcast. He was doing some stuff, and he's talking to Rich Cummings. This guy had a three-wheeler with monster truck tires on. And back in the day, in a V8 and pipes coming out, it was just really cool, and it could do wheelies and all kinds of cool stuff. And anyway, they were during their podcast, they started talking about when they ran shows for me, and went out and did Candlestick, and they did Aloha Stadium, and they did Mile High Stadium and stuff. And it was really cool. It was the first time anybody had ever been into those stadiums, and it was neat. And they gave it up for me, and they said some really nice stuff about me. And I just want to hit them back. Hey, thanks, boys. That was cool. That was cool, man. Thank you very much. You guys are class acts to work with.
Yeah, what they do down there at the Hall of Fame, what Jeff Cook's got going on down there, it's certainly something special. They have the memorial plaque out there. Lloyd's name is honored out there as well. Every year they do the Hall of Fame. Looking back at your career and seeing how much you've accomplished, do you ever picture yourself being honored in like the Monster Truck Hall of Fame or any other organization that would want to honor the accomplishments? Is that something have you ever crossed your mind before?
No, it's not something to think about. No. Would I be honored? Absolutely. Anybody to be recognized amongst their peers is BSing you, man. If they say they wouldn't just be stoked, to have something like that happen. Of course I would in a New York minute. And I would love it. Matter of fact, the Hall of Fame, I talk a lot with Christopher about it. And I'm always giving Christopher a hard time that I always thought that I don't know, maybe he's been inducted now, but one of the people I always thought that should have been inducted into the Monster Truck Hall of Fame is the guy that was responsible for starting monster trucks. And Christopher thinks that's Bob Chandler, but it's not. It was another guy that brought Bob Chandler into the Silver Dome and had him crush a car in front of about 85,000 people. It was a guy by the name of Bob George. He's the one that I feel started Monster Trucks because he was the promoter producer of that show way back in the day. It was a company that later got to be known as USHRA, and it was I think they called it SRO Promotions. And Bob George was an old drag race promoter, and they were doing a truck and tractor pull. He heard about Bob Chandler, saw what Bob Chandler had been doing with his buddies when they put big tires on his truck, and brought them into the Kingdom and had them go over the car. And I think that kind of creativity, he's the one that deserves the cred, if you know what I'm saying. It's like what you guys are doing right now. You just invented the virtual reality game doing this stuff here. Sure, we're going to talk all about the drivers and everything else. The creators, though, are you guys.
100%, John. And just to make sure, Bob George is in the Hall of Fame. Is he there now? Yes, he is. It took a couple years after the inaugural class of Bob Chandler, but he is part of the Hall now, and he's been honored amongst everyone. There's a comment there from the guru himself, Christopher Allen.
I'd give him a hard time about it, and I'd always tease him. And see, I got the old bad saying, I'm not following it. My bad on that. But I'd always give him a hard time saying, where's Bob George? Get him up there. Come on, I don't want to hear about these monster truck guys. They're only a driver. Drivers are like spark plugs. You screw them in and out as you need them. You don't need it. And that's one of the main things we say about drivers, by the way. Something you'll hear from every crew chief.
I love it, man. I love it. So whenever you're at the events, you kind of have a signature trademark. It was mentioned earlier in our comments by Levi Jones, and it came up again by Eric Shockey. It says we're not used to seeing you without a cigar.
Yeah,
you're a man. Love your cigars. So
where is it, man? Come on.
Cigars. Yeah, well, first of all, where is your cigar? And second of all, do you have a favorite cigar?
I think he's in the hotel.
Yes, I do. I do have some favorite cigars. One of my favorite cigars is a cigar called the Diesel. Believe it or not, nothing to do with Tractor Point, but Diesel's a really good type of cigars. They make quite a few of them, and they got a couple of particular Diesels that I like. What's that? Yeah. Matter of fact, I used to like Diesel cigars. And we were talking about Lloyd. Well, Lloyd had a cat. He named his cat after my cigars. He called it a Diesel. Called his cat Diesel. That was another crazy story. But anyway, well, what we are is we're not at home right now. I'm in a hotel room in San Martin. And the reason we're in San Martin today is we're going to, on my wife's side of the family, his brother's mother-in-law, they're having a birthday party for her tomorrow. She's turning 100 years of age. So that's pretty cool. And she's neat. She's sharp. She's right there. So, So that's why I'm here, and that's why I don't have a cigar, because I'm in a hotel room. They won't let me smoke a cigar in a hotel room. So I got to go down to pick up and grab one later.
There you go. We had many people bringing that up, but we're approaching.
We keep joking it, I mean, I don't promote smoking whatsoever. I don't want you to think I'm behind or anything, because I don't want to be responsible for putting tobacco in a child's hands. It's a terrible thing. But I do want to take a mask, and I think I'm going to drill a hole in it so I can put it on and have a cigar sticking out of it, just to see what kind of looks I get from people.
That's great. That's great. I'd love to see that. Oh, man. Well, this is our next segment of the show. It is where I take a picture from your social media. We bring it up on the screen, and you have to explain the picture, basically. Pretty simple. So here is the picture. Explain this.
Okay, that's cool, by the way. That is while we are checking vehicles, standing in front of a little production trailer we have, and that was in Newport, Oregon. And we used to do side-by-side mud racing there in Newport, Oregon back in the day, and that's quite a while back. And that's what it is. I'm standing in front of the production trailer waving at somebody.
You've been up and down all over the roads. You've promoted in so many different states. We had another fan question from Travis Palm. He wanted to know if you thought about coming out to the Midwest or East Coast to be running any motorsport events.
The gang wants to. The gang wants to, and they asked me, and I said, I'm not a kid anymore. The crew all wants to go, and I said, that good. I'll take my golf clubs and see you out there. But maybe there's some other plans going on right now. And, of course, there's always something going on in the background, but a definite maybe in the near future.
Let's talk a little bit about what to expect at WGAS shows. Something I noticed this year while in Indio, something kind of, I want to say, a new addition to the show with monster trucks. At the very end, the last show in Indio, we saw a dual freestyle from the Enforcer, Jeff Souza, and Tony Canedo with Plan for Keeps. Will we see more of maybe dual freestyles, or, I've been seeing that lately?
Yeah, you can count on more dual freestyles. Absolutely love it. We adore it. As a matter of fact, in Pomona, when we complete that show and on the 4th of July show, what we do is we have several trucks come out and all do cyclones at the same time. But no, we like the dual thing. Matter of fact, when we had a chance to visit a couple of days ago, I'd mentioned a thing that we call California style, and it's a freestyle show where we overlap the trucks. This is cool. It's really cool. It goes through a lot of talent in a hurry. I mean, the show just goes bam, bam, bam. And of course, it really gets, compounded if you have breakage, but it's very, very cool. Each truck's given a 2-minute freestyle time. Truck goes out and runs for 90 seconds. At 90 seconds, that truck gets a yellow light, so they know there's only 30 seconds left, and the next truck comes out and starts. So they're both on the track simultaneously for 30 seconds together. Then the first truck leaves. Now you've got the second truck running. When that truck hits 90 seconds, same thing. Overlap. Boom, here comes another truck. They run together for 30 seconds. Then the second truck pulls out, and the third one is out there running. And we do that until we go through the entire field. And as you can imagine, it's one of those deals we got to tell people, look, if you're in the restroom, get out here. We're starting to stay in a little while. And it isn't like, gee, I'm going to use the restroom or go get that cold drink or whatever. It's like, nah, dude, you got to sit down. You got to get your phone or camera, however, whatever you want for memories ready, because this is going to go so fast you can't believe it, because it just goes bam, 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 bam. I mean, if you got 10 trucks and you're overlapping each one by 30 seconds, I mean, you can do the math on it. It goes fast. It's going to go really quick. but it's neat. It's just nonstop. It's always something happen. It's very forgiving for other trucks too, because when they get down to the end of their freestyle, if a guy's rocking good, that's even better. If he's not so much, when the next truck comes out, he's kind of picking up the slack. So it's the coolest thing I've found in a while in entertainment, and our fans have come back to us and on our social media and stuff and said, hey, we like the California style. Do it again. Bring it out. And the only thing is, we got to explain to them, well, understand, California style is going to go through the trucks in a hurry. So if you want to sit around for a show for 2 hours, it's not going to be a 2-hour show, because we're going to, when you do that final round, it's going to happen fast. But anyway, California style, one of our new deals. I like it. It rolls really nice.
Well, I hope to see the California style at a show sometime in the future. Does WGAS have any shows possibly planned in the near future with all this going on, or?
Yeah, we do. We've got shows on the books right now, but the governor's not letting us do them. So we just had a meeting yesterday in regards to billboard signs and things of that nature, trying to figure out what to do, because you have to get your ducks in a row out in advance, especially this year because it's an election year. So things are happening a lot faster. Billboard signs are taken, airtime is taken. So, whatever you're doing to make it work. But I don't know that the venues are going to allow us to come in. So if you take a venue and they cut us back and say, well, you can do the show, but you could only have 25% of the crowd that you normally have. Well, the downside with that is if we cut back the crowd to only 25%, now to make that happen, we got to cut back the show. And now it's all about the fans. What do the fans want to see? What do they want? What turns them on? So that's concerning us. And yes, we are regularly sending letters out to all of our politicians and decision makers, saying, please let us know what's going on. Please help us out. Please help us anticipate what your next move is going to be, because, right now we're watching our industry and our side just fail. Shane has some ideas that I can't let the cat out of the bag on that, but he's got a couple new ideas on how to do a show, and they're still in their infancy. We're still penciling them out. But if we can't do shows the way we used to, he might have a plan and of course, it's got to be approved by Chelsea, and we'll have to see what Eric Brown thinks about it. But if everybody comes on board and they like it, well, then maybe it's something that'll work.
Well, it's always about the evolution of the business, and we're in kind of one of those phases now where we always have to evolve. And you've always been a part of the evolution over your career, especially going back from where you first started in motorsports. As we start to wind down here in the podcast, your love for truck and tractor pulls is well known, and way back in the day, you actually had a newsletter for tractor pulling, and that was one of the first things you did when you were promoting events. Have you thought back on those days of writing newsletters to where you're at now, and think about maybe doing some more stuff with truck and tractor pulls in the current time?
I really do, and thank you for asking. I really do hope to do more with truck and tractor pulling. We're working on it now. Truck and tractor pulling's entertainment value has really come back. Fans want to see it, and it's the biggest deal we're having right now is just getting the venues and the equipment to be able to do the shows. But yes, we're working on the logistics of that right now, because pulling has got shows every weekend somewhere. It's really been rocking and rolling. And yes, I did a monthly tab, as we call it, a tabloid. It was a newspaper that was printed monthly. I copied right off what National Dragster did, copied it all the way through, and had a regular newspaper about it. And, a cover photo, cover story, the whole thing, on running stories inside, results of shows, upcoming shows. So it was really cool. I mean, we copied National Dragster, and we copied Roper Sport News, which was a newspaper out of Lodi, California, on team roping. and was really successful for a lot of years. I wish I could still be doing it. It was a lot of fun. Other than that, yeah, dig pulling. Would like to go do some more. And we had a great T-shirt with a great saying for pulling for the trucks, four-wheel drive trucks. It said, "If you got a 4x4, take it out and pull it." And for the tractors, we just said, "If you got a hot one, take it out and pull it."
We have a question from Craig, the dirt guy. He wants to know, what will be the next class to be added to the show? What would be something you would really like to run?
The next class added to the shows. There's two, giving out of everything. Okay. There's two things I'm liking right now that I'm having a ball with watching them come up. Number one, of course, is the mini monsters. I'm loving watching them. I'd like to see them come up. There's another class. We call them the Wolf Pack out of Washington. Rest of the nation might refer to them as mega monsters or something like that. The word mega doesn't seem to work for it, but they're in between a mini monster and a big monster truck. Very entertaining. They do a great job. The guys with the Wolf Pack, Glenn and his dad and everybody, they got 3 trucks that rock. I would like to see a class of that. It's a fun class. It's a good class to do because you don't have to put tires on and off. You drive it on and off the trailer. They really are cool. I think anybody looking to get into the monster truck world, I would put my eye on that. That would be entry level to the max. And you can actually build one of those cheaper, and you can build these trucks that Shane has for his son, or that Craig and everybody else has out there. I mean, those men are really spending a lot of money in those trucks. Another class I'd like to see some more of. We ran them way back in the day. It kind of petered out, and it's back again. Going strong is lawnmower racing. Sounds crazy, but I'll tell you what, there's some guys out there with some lawnmowers. Crabtree and his gang, Southern California boys and Arizona boys. We've had them at a few of our shows, and these guys rock. So we're looking at that. And we also want to do more UTV racing. We did a couple deals for CBS Sports a couple years in a row, working with some guys from the East Coast, some good people out there, Joe and his gang. And we did what they called Caracross. Very successful, had a lot of names out there, Walker Evans, all the guys out there racing with us and stuff. We'd kind of like to try to get that going again, too. I think that's a lot of fun, very successful.
As we're winding down the podcast, I want to bring up a little historic moment, which was in Pomona, California. Lindsey Wink and I believe Jurassic Attack riding out a slap wheelie. I believe it holds the world record to this day. We talked about this the other night. John, what was going through your mind when Lindsey Wink rode that slap wheelie?
Well, a slight correction. He was in Iron Outlaw.
Iron Outlaw. My bad.
That's right. No. He was an Iron Outlaw, which, what it's like for the trucks to come out of Cretan's barn. It had a lot of motor and was a long-winded ride. Had a lot going on, had a tall gear. As I said the other night, I was probably 250 feet off to the side as Lindsey's rolling this wheelie, and it's a real wheelie, not a tail dragger, not just running on the wheelie bars or the tailgate. This is where the wheelie bars, nothing other than the tires can touch the ground more than 10% of the time on the tires. You can't just pop up on the wheelie bars like one of these drag race stunt deals, and drive it on the wheelie bars. It has to be a power wheelie, and which means you're going to go faster and faster and faster and faster. Well, everybody in their camp knew this. They had the gears for it. They had the talent for it. And Lindsey went by me at about 65 miles an hour, and he's still clicking off distance. And, I'm just all excited about this. I'm out there with a kill radio, and we're going to see this world record. And when he went by me, my brain is going, why in the hell are we so close? 250 feet was way too close. And you know what? I got the old guy thing. I can't remember what the distance was, but yeah, it smashed everything. I've not heard of any power wheelie that's come close to that since either. I mean, he used up most of what Pomona has on that huge racetrack.
I believe we have another question from Lee Plato. He wants to know, John, do you think a 48-inch tall Terra tire class could work maybe with small block motors?
In the New York Minute, absolutely. I think they would work great. Thank you for asking that, Lee, because you're spot on what you're hearing. You're picking up what I've been putting down, brother. Yes, 48-inch tire. I think that's what Glenn and the guys are running up there now with the Wolfpack. A 48-inch tire like that, and it doesn't need to be a big block. It can be a small block, and it doesn't really matter. It could be a big block, but it all naturally aspirated. It does not need to be a blown motor. Don't need a blown motor. It's more power than you need. And when you start going into that, it becomes a much more costly thing for the layman. Once again, when you say entry level, you're trying to do something that someone can build a reliable piece of machinery for a little less than $200,000. That's what you want to do. So that's the place to do it. It's a truck that you can go out and run it. And like I said, call up Glenn Miller and the guys with the Wolfpack and ask them. Those guys are righteous. They do a great job and they're entertaining to watch. And Lee, the answer to your question is yes. Oh, yeah. So and Glenn's dad, Bob, that's one of the drivers, is 80 years old. God bless him.
I was just thinking about that, and the fact that they're still out there rocking and rolling up there in Washington, it's incredible and very much inspiring that there's never an age limit on what you can do in motorsports. Isn't that right, John?
Absolutely, and you're going to see Glenn's son in one of these hot rods pretty soon.
Oh, I'm
very
sure.
Talented young man.
You know, you've been a part of a lot of different venues and a lot of different events. And we know we have our virtual Del Mar event we talked about a little bit coming up next Friday. And around this time, we would be in the normal Del Mar. And you mentioned earlier, it's a marathon weekend, marathon week. You're out there for 2 weeks, if more or less, nonstop motorsports action. How did that come to be? And how did it continue to grow to it becoming just this massive weeks of motorsport events that it is now?
You know, that was a perfect storm. We had the right fix for the right place at the right time. Things were changing. Different things were going on. Tim Fennell, the CEO out there, was looking for, something new, something a little different, and something he would feel comfortable with, and something that would meet their budget, and of course all the things, and it would address the different age groups that want to watch it, and the different where different people come from, and all the different things. And it took a few years to fine tune it, and of course we're still fine tuning now. 25 years, we change it every year. Some you may not see it, but there's changes going on. But what we've done is we got it together now where instead of one big long show, we do 2 short shows. We do 2 shows a day, 1 hour a show. We've got Ray out there that best equipment operator on the planet, and he's with the San Diego County Fair. He builds the tracks for us. We got Rob Phillips out there. This guy knows the tracks. He knows what it takes for a tough truck to do something or whatever. And so I mean, how could it possibly fail? We've got the best. We've got one of the most talented, innovative CEOs of a massive complex on the planet that's liking what we're doing. He's given us free reign. They really don't choke us down. It's kind of like, you know what we want, John. Go out there and knock that deal out. Then see what you can do. Thank you. How could you ask for more than that? We got Amy and Paul and all the gang. There's really a bunch of super people that we work with there, and people that have spawned from there and other places now as Santa Rosa, and we get to work with Becky over there and stuff. And it's really kind of neat when you are given that kind of freedom to move. We started out doing little shows in a venue, and as they kept earning their respect, if you haven't been to a tough truck race there, man, I'm telling you, got to go, because we take off, and there's 2 tunnels coming to the track. They take off out of one tunnel, run around the building, shoot out the other tunnel, turn around, and we pulled the fence off the stage and opened the doors at the end of the building, and they come flying in off the stage and jump into the center of the building and race around it. It's cool, man. We've got electronic timing going on, and we got that patched into the big screen that's hanging up there so you can see the clock running. So it's no presto changeo. I mean, these guys are serious running high-end off-road trucks, and they dig it. They know it's heads up. Like I said, it's electronic timing. The clock's running. Everybody in the building can see it. It's all being videoed. It's cool. It's a lot of fun. And we got a lot of serious people and a lot of professional young men and women that are out there working with us on this thing to make it happen. But and we do something different all the time. Then we come in later and we bring in stuff for children, stuff for kids. The mini dwarfs, the junior outlaws, they got kids 6 years old racing these righteous little hot rods, man. They look like little sprint cars, and they bang wheels. And I mean, you can't believe how good they are. They cross steer into the turns. They're just jacked, just like a full-on sprint car. It's a 6-year-old kid driving his car. That is too cool. Mom and dad's the pit crew, and they're out there just running their tails off because these kids are blowing the wheels off these cars. So that's a cool thing. And we let them have some mic time. We let them talk. You guys know what it's like. You're out there with it. You've seen it. So that's we always have something very different. And then Crabtree comes out there with his lawnmowers. It just blows them away. I mean, he's got lawnmowers that'll do 90 miles an hour down the stretch. It's like, whoa. You watch the small mowers run, and then they come out with these hot rod mowers, and they scare the hell out of me. There's nowhere to hide if you have a problem with one of those. But anyway, we've had a lot of good time, a lot of good stuff. We've raced a lot of different types of vehicles. We do a lot of vintage racing. We got some vintage flat track going on down there now, and it's a lot of fun stuff. We're involved with a demo derby down there with the fire department. It's a fundraiser for the Burn Institution and everything. That's cool, man. This is fun stuff. This is what we live for. This is what we live for. It's like I said, I don't know what to do now. I'm not going to be in Del Mar right now. You know what I mean? I'm not looking at the ocean when I go to bed and when I wake up in the morning and smelling that breeze and everything. And I live in Northern California. It's 100 degrees. Man. Not as hot as Arizona, I know, but it's warm.
I'm right there with you, John. Even the dirt dudes in the comments, it's the first time in 5 years that he's not out there in Del Mar right now doing something with you guys and all the diverse motorsports that you have at your events, whether it be tough trucks like my man Andrew Jimenez with the Riot up there in Northern California, or like we talked about, your truck pulling. Somebody that wants to see more truck pulling, somebody you might know very well, it's Russell Steely.
Oh, yeah.
A friend of us all. Do you have any good Russell Steely stories?
Oh, God. No, none that I could say, really. It's, Russell, first time Russell and I worked together, he was driving a monster truck, not a pull truck. And we were doing a commercial for this car company. It had these little hot rod cars. And they rented Sam Boyd's Silver Bowl Stadium. They rented that thing to have a commercial and try to make it look like the World Finals. And Russell was out there driving. And, of course, there was some dude running around with a camera and a mic on a 20-foot pole with this big fuzzy thing hanging off it, driving Russell crazy. And I know we're getting ready for the final shoot, and it's really tense because he's got to just sky it over these cars. And they only got 4 of them in the United States. And they had it really stretched out at first. And I said, well, you got some backup cars, right, in case we screw up? And they went, well, no. These are the only ones. And I said, well, you might want to put them cars a little closer together because, this isn't an exact science. Sometimes things go wrong. And this guy's sticking his fuzzy microphone through the window to Russell in the truck. And I hear Russell, hey, JB. Walked over. Yeah, Russ, come here a little closer. Yeah, and I stick my head in. He goes, if you have that guy with that fuzzy microphone, get out of here before I kill him. He's making me completely nuts. I don't know. So anyway, yeah. But of course, long story short, we did the jump. It was very successful. Russell rocked the whole deal, and it was beautiful. But it was a lot of fun. Worked a lot with Russell. He's got a class. I got a righteous 4x4 pull truck. He calls the Bounty Hunter. good looking, sweet iron, man. It's a good truck. I look forward to seeing it back on the track soon.
You know, John, we can sit here and trade stories all hour, but it's come to that point where we need to wrap a bow on it. And one last question I have for you. You've really done almost everything possible. I will say everything possible in motorsports. You've been doing this for over 40 years, and you're not slowing down anytime soon. If and when, I know you're immortal, but if and when this all ends, what do you want your legacy to be?
He made things happen. That's it. Made things happen. I've been very blessed. I've got a family around me that are my sounding board, and I'm the baby of a family of 5. So I got older brothers. I can go to them and say, hey, what do you think of this idea? And each one of them, of course, is very different. They look at life different. And, they'll tell me, hey, that's not a bad idea. Or they'll tell me, hey, have you completely lost your mind, John? That's not going to work, But throughout my life, that's always been there. I've got the support of my family with that. I've got the support of my wife. And, when it's all done, mostly I just would, my epitaph would be that, he made things happen. That's enough. I'm like Rocky. I don't need to be the champ. I just want to be there for the distance. I just want to go to the bell.
I love it, John. We ask almost every question here, but I want to encourage you, if you haven't already, to go back and read some of the comments that are left in this video here. There's so many people that have so many incredible things and praises to say about you and your incredible career. I just want to thank you again for giving me a chance to live my dream and to continue to grow in monster trucks. I know Vinny could probably say the same thing as he's slowly starting in his monster truck career and so many others. I just want to thank you again for giving me the opportunity, and thank you for being on the podcast. And so everybody around the world who's been watching this can hear a little bit inside the mind of John Borba.
Hey, right on. Vance, Phil, thank you guys for letting an old guy indulge out here and talk his head off and everything. You guys rocked. It's a good deal, and it's been a slice to be here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on, John.
Thank you, John. Man, that was incredible. Let me just say, before we completely wrap it up, how much fun that was. If you guys haven't already, please share this video. Make sure you like our page.
It's the bottom of the screen. Just share.
Bottom of the screen, you won't miss the like button, but I just want to say it's been incredible interviewing John. I can't say it enough. He's given so many people an opportunity to excel and live their dreams in this business. And he has so many stories. That's why we stayed on for a very long time on this podcast, because there's so much you can hear from John. And the incredible part is that he's not stopping or slowing down anytime soon. And when we get these events rolling again, and when John and WGS can get back out there and entertain the fans, I'm sure we'll all be there supporting him every step of the way.
Most definitely. It was a great episode. Who knows? We may have John back on in the future. Who knows what the future holds? But let's talk about the future of the podcast. So next Friday, what are we doing, Phil?
Well, we've done a lot of great things with this podcast, and if you haven't checked some of our past videos, make sure you watch our video feed. But we're doing something a little special. We're kind of stepping away from the podcast next week, and as we've been talking about, if you've been watching this video, we're doing a virtual event at the Del Mar Arena, the virtual Del Mar Arena. It's going to be a monster truck event. It's going to have 3 competitions, 8 monster trucks in there, including 3 real-life monster truck drivers that have competed at Del Mar Arena at the San Diego County Fair, plus the best from the virtual monster trucks all throughout the West Coast, even up in Canada. We have a lot of different people coming on board. You're going to hear a lot of familiar voices that you've heard at WGAS Motorsports events all over the place on our broadcast. You're not going to want to miss. It's going to be July 3rd, next Friday. No podcast next week, but something that's just special for the 4th of July weekend, a virtual event at the virtual Del Mar Arena.
Oh, yeah. And after that, we're going to be back to our regular schedule with guests. Who knows who we may bring. So make sure you share, like, and keep supporting us. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. I just stuttered. I cannot speak, guys.
I had to make one mistake on this podcast.
I had to make one mistake. I'm out of words at this point, guys. That was a great episode, okay? John, I mean, what else is there to say? That episode was amazing, and there's no other words that I have.